Beats podcast.
Hello and welcome to this third episode of my podcast. The Accurate Beats podcast is what it's called now, and you should be able to find this one on the Apple Podcaster app as well if you want to enjoy this as a podcast, the way podcasts are meant to be enjoyed in audio form. And someone on Instagram told me that you can access the Apple Podcast library even on an Android device, so that should be an option. But just search for Accurate Beats and you should find it where you can find your podcasts. Yeah, so let me start by kind of saying that I'm sorry for not posting episodes of the podcast more frequently, but that's just what you get when you're me and you're trying to do that many things at once. So the podcast is not my first priority. My YouTube channel is, but yeah, this is what it is, and you're still able to enjoy this on YouTube or on the Podcaster app again. Now, this is the third episode, and in my last one, I did this beat review part of the podcast where I listened to, I think it was 5 beats, and I talked about them a little bit, trying to give them some type of feedback. And I said that you can keep making stuff like that for me. I mean, just sending me beats that you've done. And, I sat down to prepare for making this podcast, and I realized that I had gotten so many beats from you guys. So this episode is going to be a beat review episode, nothing else. And in the future, I think I have to think more about how to go about this, because if I get this amount of beats every single time, I'm not going to be able to talk about anything else, really. So maybe I'm going to make this exclusive to Patreons or to members of the Discord or whatever. But for now, I'm just trying to squeeze in as many beats as possible here. And I think that's a good way for me to try to give back a little bit of something to you guys, to the people that has been watching my YouTube channel for a while or just are interested in the stuff that I do. And first of all, I just want to say that some of these tracks are really, really good, and some of them, let's just stick with some of them are really, really good. And I'm proud to have followers and subscribers that are producers and beat makers themselves and that are able to do beats of this kind of quality. But I don't want to make this episode too long, and I guess it's going to be kind of long anyways because I have a lot of music to listen to. So let's just get right into it, shall we? So my document says that my first one is made by someone called Joshua or Savagetvproductions. So the track is called Will You? So let's play that right off the bat, and let's see if I have some kind of feedback to give to this one, or maybe not. Let's go. Okay, so there we go. That's the first one. Will You by Savagetvproductions. Well, I think this is a nice track. It sounds like there's some kind of combination of both samples and like plug-in instruments, and I appreciate that. The whole vocal thing, will you, yada yada, sounds nice in the mix, and if that's like put through some kind of vocoder or something, it really helps with the sound of it all. And yeah, even though I've said some stuff about crash cymbals and stuff in my last podcast, I think you're doing it here in a way that kind of fits the track really well with the cymbals and the long hi-hats or ride cymbals or whatever it is. It sounds nice together, and the whole combination of that piano thing and the synthy strings you have got going, I think that's a nice combination, and I don't have too much negative to say about this one. It feels good. It's nice. Maybe I would like to have some more like energy somewhere in it. You're switching between this loop that you have going and another part of it where it's like slowed down, or not slowed down, like slowed down, but less energy with less drums and stuff, and that helps with the dynamics, but also maybe something a bit more added to the beat somewhere to make it even more like full, or maybe not. Maybe it's just supposed to what it is. Maybe it's just supposed to be what it is, I should say. And that switch up with the drums with the 16-note hi-hat, that fits well to the beat as well. And you have a nice swing going on with the kick drum, and I think, yeah, well done. And it sounds like you put a lot of work into this one with the mixing and the arrangement of stuff. It's 3 minutes and 40 seconds long, and it could be shortened down, but I think for this one, it's cool. I never got bored of listening to it, and I think you put a lot of good work into this. Good job. Again, I'm impressed by having an audience from YouTube or whatever that are like able to make music like this. Really good stuff. Let's see if I can say anything really. I mean, the main theme of the piano there, dum, do, dum, do, dum, dum. It could be kind of repetitive, but it's not, because you've added so many different elements to the track. So yeah, good work and nicely done. Cool. So let's just move on to the next one, by someone called Dhans, and he signed his email with left040. So I don't know if that's left040 or what's up. He made a beat and he sent it my way, and it's called I shouldn't even try to say that. Calabasas. I'm not sure. That's the name of the track. So let's find it here and have a listen. That's nice. Okay, so that's the second one for this one. Well, I have some things to say here. Let's start with the good things. I like the way that you have two different chord progressions of the piano. That makes it like shift from the basic first loop to the stuff you have here. I think that's a nice choice to have two versions that are distinctively different like that. And the whole, is that a flute on top of it? The whole melody part? I think that's really nice and it fits well into it. If this is made by two different samples, I think you did a really good job combining them and having them in the right pitch and making them sound good together, because you really did. The problem I have with this one is maybe mixing, or maybe the drums in general. There's something special about the snare you put here, and maybe that's intentional, maybe that's a choice you made, and in that case I can't say anything. But yeah, the snare drum feels almost like a double hit, like a, you know, the snare sample sounds a bit weird in my ears. Almost like it's out of phase somehow, but I don't know. Maybe that's just a sample you used for this, and maybe that's cool. But that together with the rest of the stuff doesn't really feel like it plays super nice together. Maybe it's just a matter of lowering the volume of the drums a bit, because the hi-hat, at least in my headphones here, the hi-hat feels a little bit too much as well, a little bit too loud. But I like the fact that you have this really nice, simple hi-hat pattern that's almost hitting quarter notes all the time, but sometimes you switch it up, makes it all nice again, and the whole thing adds to the dynamic of the beat a lot, and I like that. I especially appreciate the top line here, the flute or whatever it is that creates this melody on top of the thing, and it took me like a minute to realize that this beat doesn't really have a bass line, which is something that I should notice right away, but it took me a while. So maybe just like having a bass line, it doesn't have to be super funky, super busy in there, but just adding some more separation in the bass notes, in the bass frequencies. Because that could go nicely together with this kick drum, because the kick isn't super low in frequency, so you should have some space there to squeeze in more bass. But again, it took me like a good minute to realize that it doesn't really have a bass line, so that's a good thing. Maybe add a bass line and see how that feels. Maybe not. All music doesn't need to have a bass line, but you know, if I would have been you, I would have tried adding a bass here. But that top line flute is really beautiful. Maybe I should try to add some kind of delay or reverb on it to make it, to make it flow a little bit more, to make it shine. But yeah, now I'm just nitpicking a lot. This was a nice track. Definitely. Nice work. And thanks a lot for sending it my way. I hope that's something. All right. So now we have someone called Daniel from Germany, who also wrote a really nice email with his beat about me and my health and me recovering and me handling the situation nicely. And yeah, he appreciates my content and I appreciate him for his email. So, Daniel, Germany, the beat is called Not These Days, and I think it's time to listen to that. Not These Days, let's find it here and let's play. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's an unexpected ending. Cool. So, thanks a lot for sending that one in. It's cool to listen to beats from other producers like this, because this one really sticks out to me in the mixing because it's super tight. Everything feels like compressed in a nice way, and everything just fits into the mix really nicely. Nothing is too airy, too breathy, or like sticks out of there. And that's a good thing for something like this. A really nice, funky little thing with a... It sounds to me like you thought about the instrumentation here, having the Rhodes piano, the funk guitar, the bass line, and those funky drums with the rim shot instead of the snare. What I'm thinking about though is that the snare fill that comes in sometimes feels a little bit, maybe just a little bit off, because like if you're playing the rim shot all the time in the track, and then all of a sudden you go kind of hard with the snare, I'm not sure. Maybe that's exactly what a drummer would do. I'm not a drummer myself, so I don't know. But it sticks out to me as like, okay, this is definitely programmed, because yeah, it's not supernatural, but it's kind of dangerous for me to go that way and talk about that, because this is not like a band playing, even if that's kind of the sound I guess you're going for. The thing I like most about this track is definitely the drums and the bass line. I would love to hear just the drums and the bass line play for maybe 8 bars or something. The rhythm guitar is nice, but I'm kind of sure that it's a sample or that it's some kind of plug-in instrument. And it's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. It sounds cool, but it gets a little bit, yeah, I've heard it. Yeah, I've heard it. Yeah, I've heard it. So sometimes just dropping the guitar totally and just letting the bass breathe, because the bass line here, all the bass figures that you're doing here, they sound really nice. I would say that musically this is really, really good. The whole track flows nicely to me, and it's funky, but not like in your face funky that it's too much, Yeah, the vocal chop in there, the little wailing thing, fits nicely into the track. I guess this is a track where you're looking for an artist, like a vocalist of some sort, to put something on it. It sounds like it. And even if it's not, even if it's just a beat that's made to be listened to as it is, I think it's really nice. And again, I must say, put some emphasis on the mixing here. I think the mixing, sure, you can always do more with the mixing, but in this case, it sounds glued together in a nice way, and I appreciate that. Makes the whole thing really nice to listen to, and it's easy to feel good about it. Salute for getting the vocal in there. It fits nicely in pitch and sounds good. Well done. Cool. Nice to hear what you did. So that's Daniel from Germany. Yeah, and for the people who sent links to like Instagram or I don't know, SoundCloud or Spotify or whatever, I'm gonna try to include them in the description of this video on YouTube, and maybe also on the text for the episode on the Podcaster app. I'm not sure how that works, but I'm gonna try to give you guys as much love and appreciation and try to share you as good as I can. Okay. So the next one is from someone called Taylor, aka Life's Apprentice. So maybe Life's Apprentice is just the producer or the artist name here. So the email says, here is some pleasure for your ears, hopefully. This is an instrumental of my upcoming LP called Here I Am, that will be dropping somewhere in 2020. Cool. You've inspired me through the past few years. Hopefully one day I can return the favor. No, man, you don't have to return a favor at all. I appreciate being here. Sorry if this is a duplicate email. I thought I sent it. Yada yada. Congrats to recovering from your surgery. Thank you. Okay, cool. So, Life's Apprentice, Charles, and the beat is called something. It's called Here I Am Instrumental, just like the album is going to be called. So let's have a listen to Here I Am. That's nice. Okay, I'm sorry to shut it down, but the beat is 5.5 minutes long and we are now at 3 minutes. So I don't like to do this, but I think I'm gonna skip a little bit ahead to see if something really new happens. Well, kind of not. And there it's ending. So, okay, this is cool. This is really cool from a sonic perspective because you have a lot of bass going on here and it doesn't become too much, I think. But what I would want here is maybe the beat to like open up somewhere, because it sounds like you played around a lot with the filter of kind of everything, the drums and the sample and everything. And I appreciate, I like this one. Let's see if I can find. Okay, no. But it sounds like, at least to me, it sounds like some kind of brass sample has been squeezed in here. And that makes it all super like dreamy and nice. And I really get what you're going for here, but somehow it just feels like this beat has more to it than we actually hear. Maybe it's just me, but I think that if you open up one of the filters on something like completely, I feel like there should be more there, more like high frequency material that pops a little bit more. And I get that this beat is not supposed to be super poppy or like that, but just somewhere in the beat, I would love it to open up and just be, you know, just be airy and be out there, because now it's kind of muffled and it's kind of dark and bassy, which is cool. But I kind of feel like I want the contrast of that somewhere. And that's subjective. That's just me, just my opinion. Don't take it too seriously. And it's not necessarily criticism either. I mean, the bass drum sounds nicely filtered. It sounds cool as is. And the snare kind of pops out of there. But something about the musical aspect of this track, I just want it to be a bit more heard, you know? It feels like it's hiding. And that's maybe a choice, and that's kind of cool. But yeah, you know, yeah, that's me. Does this beat has to be 5.5 minutes long? Maybe not. Or maybe it has to be for your entire upcoming album. Maybe everything is kind of like that, like long and dreamy, and you're supposed to get into the mood. In that case, I can't criticize you for that. But right now, for listening to a beat like this, well, it could be taken down to like 3 minutes or something, and you still have all your parts in there, and we've heard them all. But nice work, and yeah, I think you made some kind of trickery there with the sidechaining or with the filters and stuff to get that amount of bass in there without it getting too annoying and too much. And I salute you for that. Life's Apprentice, the beat is called Here I Am. He's working on an album. That's super cool. That's Life's Apprentice. Let's go on to the next one here, which is a SoundCloud link. Hey Accurate, loved your channel and your podcast. I loved last week's beat review. It's not last week's any longer. It's like 2 months ago. And I thought I'd send you a beat I made. Please critique the shit out of it. Okay, that's important to remember. I'm always looking for feedback. Thank you, Accurate. Critique the shit out of it. So let's try to do that. He's called NJH Beats on SoundCloud. NJH Beats. You Know How is the beat's name. That's cool. Okay, that's the end of that one. Now something else starts. Let's stop that like that. Okay, super cool. Okay, critique the shit out of it. If you write that to me, I just have to say it's a nice track. It's obvious that you know what you're doing. I get a really RZA vibe from this, like old school Wu-Tang, but still with a like modern lo-fi twist to it. I mean, the loop here, yeah, with that tremolo, super RZA, super Wu-Tang. But then the drums comes in and has this really like head nodding feel to it, which I appreciate a lot. The vocal sample here, you know how, the whole thing fits in the beat. It sounds like you kind of squeezed it in there, but it really adds something cool to the track. But I mean, just listening to this, doom da doom doom da doom doom doom, it sounds like an old school RZA thing. And since you have this vocal chop on top of it, it sounds a bit better than that, and a bit more modern and with a twist that it feels personally. And maybe that's you. Maybe that's what you're going for. I like this one a lot. Could it be shorter? Yes, it could. This one is 4 minutes and 16 seconds, which is, it's not super long, but to me, it's not necessary to be that long because you're showing the same kind of patterns and the same kind of stuff more times than 2 or 3. But yeah, that's just me personally. And in this forum, like, in this forum, listening to beats and trying to give them critique, I like them to be short and concise and, very like precise. But for this one, I think you kind of, if you're going for a RZA sound but with a more modern twist, I think you really struck a home run here. And I don't know what's up with the bass line here, but the bass line somehow sounds, I don't think it's a part of the sample. I think it's played on like an acoustic bass type of plug-in instrument. But the playing of the bass line sounds kind of like it's chopped up. So it still has this really hip-hop-y feel to it. And I like that a lot. I think that's cool. That's a cool way to use a bass sample like that. Somewhere like there where the vocal chop like overlaps itself, I think that could be cut and make it sound choppy as the rest of the stuff, but that's just a small thing. Critique the shit out of it, I don't know, man. That's hard. It's a nice track. It feels like it feels like you did something really cool here. NJH Beats on SoundCloud, you know how. That's cool. Again, I'm gonna try to remember to put that link in the description below. Now I kind of messed up here with my document. That one is done. And let's go straight into the next one. From Mario. Hey man, I love your channel. It inspired me to have a go at creating myself. I play guitar normally, but last week I picked up a Machine MK3. I have little to no experience. Okay. I love it so far. The track is called The Landing, after it being my first attempt to anything like this. I added some choir right at the end of the outro, as I felt it needed something at the end. So let's listen to the end. What do you think? Any tips? Would you add more or keep it simple? Okay. The beat is called The Landing. So let's look for it here and let's have a listen. Almost 3 minutes, so let's do the entire thing. That's choir. And fade out. Okay, cool. Thank you, Mario, for sending this one. Okay. You have played the guitar before, and this is your first kind of go at this. And for a first try or for a first track, I think this is really, really cool. When it comes to this genre that I'm kind of aiming for myself, the swingy type of hip hop stuff. In a beat like this, I'm looking for some things that I can't hear here. And you say that any advice is greatly received. So let me give you a few advices here. The first one, I mean, the fact that you're using this super clear chord progression, that's an easy thing to get into. And the chord progression itself feels more like a pop song than a hip hop track, I think, but that could be worked with. But the problem I have here is that the whole beat is kind of stiff. The stuff that I'm kind of doing and the stuff that I'm into and the type of music that I think I know something about has a lot to do with the rhythm. And here, everything is kind of stiff. And that's not the end of the world. That's what you get in the beginning. And take a look at your drum programming, because normally it's like a 4 or 8 bar loop and you just loop it. So put the time into getting some swing into the drums. Might be a good thing here to make them, a bit more fun and live a bit more. You have this super poppy chord progression, and then you add like the string and then the pan flute, I guess it is, and then the choir comes in. So it's obvious that you have some kind of musical knowledge, and I appreciate that. It's super hip hoppy, super like a beat. No, I don't think so. It's kind of like a pop track, but you switch it up a bit. So the drums, I want them to be a bit looser, a bit more fun. And I think just using the root notes of the chords for your top line is definitely okay. That's something. But yeah, put a bass line in there. Could be cool. Like a bass line using the root notes of the chords, but still like using a few notes from the chords or something parallel to that. And if you play the guitar, you know about this stuff. And if I were you, I would try to put a bass line in there, and maybe the bass line could be a bit more funky is not the right word, but a bit quicker in its changes between notes, like shorter notes, and make it, jump around a bit. So a bass line would help, and loose drums, like loosen it up. Play with the velocity settings of your hi-hats and your snares and your kicks, and try to change the swing of your drums and see what happens, because I think you're gonna see what I'm talking about when you hear the difference that it would make. This is not bad. That whole figure you have going with is that a flute? It's probably still some kind of string instrument. I made beats like this for a long time. Just sitting in when I was using Reason, I made a lot of stuff that sounded like this. Just straight chord progressions and a melody and some simple drums, and it's music. But it doesn't grab me as a listener to be like, yeah, I'm gonna hear this again and again and again, because it makes me feel something. It's a bit too stiff when it comes to the programming of the things rhythmically. But I mean, this is your first attempt. I don't know why I'm so hard on you. Please don't be offended. I'm just trying to give you some type of feedback. I think for a first try, I shouldn't have said like half of that, because it's just amazing that you're making music. And this is definitely, again, it sounds to me like you have musical experience and you know what you're doing. And the parallels and the harmonies that you built up at the end with the choir, use some of that musical knowledge and program a bass line and make something cool with the rhythms, and it's gonna get a new kind of life for the whole thing. So that's done. I'm sorry for being hard on you. You put a lot of work into it, and it's, if you're in the beginning of this is really your first attempt, I salute you. I just salute you, man. That's incredible. Okay, so next up we have someone called Pedro, and he's writing a lot of stuff in his email. But what I find interesting is this. I'm a beatmaker and rapper from Spain. I've been following your channel for some time now, and I really love your videos and your beatmaking style. Thank you. I was also shocked when you heard about surgery. No, that's not it. Here. I would like to share with you one of my most recent beats. It's short and a bit sketchy, but I'm pretty proud of it, even though I still use samples as my starting point. This one in particular from a singer. I've been switching from boom bappy to more classic. I've been switching from a boom bappy, more classic sound to an electronic one, and this beat is a clear example. Okay, cool. And some social links as well. So, the track is called Kanpora. So let's have a listen. I listened to this briefly, and it's a little bit special, so let's do it. Again, he used to make classic boom bap, and now he's more into electronic stuff. All right. Okay. So Pedro, thanks a lot for sending in this. I think this is a cool and a fun opportunity for me to feature music like this. Because to me, okay, I see what you're saying, that you've aimed for a more electronic type of style, and that definitely shines through. That's obvious from listening to this. Now, in the 90s, we had this thing called like Euro disco type of music here in Sweden and around here. And this sounds kind of like that, but slowed down and more pop. So we had this Swedish group called Ace of Base that made music kind of like this, but really poppy choruses and vocals. Do I love it? No, sorry. From a music genre, music style perspective, this is not what I'm going for at all. But I can hear that you put a lot of work into the production, and the whole sample fits. The whole Kanpora thing sample fits nicely together with the sample, with the rest of the track. I'm sorry. Maybe maybe let's play here. You know? Just that backbeat thing with the organ sounds really dated to me, like 90s in a specific type of way. It's kind of pop. It's not as much as it's not much of a hip hop beat. So I would love to hear some of your more boom bap beat type of stuff and see how your sound has like developed from that to this. Because regarding to me, boom bap and that type of classic hip hop is oftentimes better than I think this is. But it's all subjective, and this is just me having a very specific type of music in mind, you know. I'm about what I'm about, and I make the stuff that I do because that's what I've listened to my entire life, and that's the stuff I like. This is kind of the opposite in some ways, but the production is still there, and for what it is, for this kind of style and genre, I think it's really good. I maybe wouldn't listen to this like going on a walk or something, but yeah. And then I just have to say, that whole thing at the end, with that like snare drum, that sounds super, what's that genre? Like the Skrillex genre, that's called something, dubstep. That kind of snare drum and the, I don't know if that's a saw wave synthesizer or whatever it is. It just, to me, that's just way too much. It's just, you know. But for this genre, I think it kind of makes sense, and I see what you did, but I don't necessarily love it myself. Still, you put a lot of work into it. I like what this is, but I would love to hear some of your boom bap stuff to see how your sound has developed. Now, I don't think I have much more to say about that because that's so different, but yeah, cool. And thanks a lot for sending it. I think it's nice to be able to feature stuff that aren't just always one thing, you know. So that's done. So the next one comes from the United States. You were the biggest help in making me want to make music, and you actually helped me a lot through messages on Instagram and your videos. I have some beats for you to hopefully play on a podcast and review. And we have 2 different SoundCloud links here. I don't remember which one I picked when I like pre-listened to it. So let's just take one of them. Okay, on SoundCloud, this guy is called Ohricky in one word. Ohricky in one word. I'm going to put the links down below as well. And yeah, let's listen back to it.
Must I split my heart in two? The love I give to you. Oh, excuse me.
Okay, so the intro of this track made me think that it was gonna become something that it didn't become, and instead it took another turn, and yeah, it was just unexpected, but I enjoyed that anyways. And I like it a lot, the slow beat with a lot of hi-hats and some triplets with the hi-hats and the snares and stuff. It's not usually what I try to make myself, but I enjoy listening to it like this, as long as it's kind of relaxed and laid back, and this one is. Now, this beat is called He Loves You, and it says beat for sale / R&B soul. And well, if that's the case, if you want someone to buy this beat and put like some type of vocals on it, that's gonna change the whole song entirely. And it's kind of hard for me to judge a beat like this because when I listen to beats or make beats, I'm kind of in my own mind and I think about beats as beats, like you're supposed to listen to it instrumental. But if this is an instrumental that is made for like R&B or soul, someone to sing on it, I think this track could be really cool. I think it could shine a lot with having some type of vocalist on top of it. If it's a rapper, if it's a singer or whatever. I think that's going to change a lot for this one. So judging it from that, I think... yeah. That's another deal entirely, and I think that would be cool to hear. I really hope someone purchases this beat and makes a song out of it, because it really deserves it. Now, what I feel is kind of missing for this beat is some type of top line, some kind of melody or something that goes on top of the track that makes you like sing along to it and remember the track. And of course, if the beat is made to work with an artist, that artist is going to do the heavy lifting of the melody and the lyrics and everything, getting the catchiness of it. So in that case, leave that up to the vocalist. You've made a lot of space for a vocalist to shine, and I think that's cool. Now the vocal sample in here, that's kind of repetitive and being everywhere. Maybe that's a bit much, especially if you want someone to sing on it. Maybe you could like still use it. It feels nice and it fits nicely to the track, but maybe it doesn't have to be there as many times. But that comes down whenever you put a real mix down out together with an artist that has contributed somehow. Good work. You see all of those percussive things with a rim shot going. It's nice. It adds a lot to this, and it makes me think that a vocalist could have a lot of fun with a track like this. So perhaps we'll see that in the future. If that's the case, if that's the case, please just send it my way and I can have another listen with the artist in mind, because that's going to change a lot. Cool. Now this is, that was my alarm saying that I've recorded this podcast for too long, but let's not care about that. Let's just go on. This was Ohricky with the track, whatever it was called. Did I close it down? Ohricky, He Loves You. Cool. Let's move on to the next one on the list. This one is from someone called Igor. Hey, Accurate. Hope all is good with you. You're doing a great work. Keep on, don't stop. Here I have 2 beats for you, which you can choose one you want to review. Don't mind the beat titles, it's just a working title. First one is just part of the beat. Second one runs till the end. I'm having a problem with the bass. I'm sure you will notice that. Okay. Igor, the track is called Gitra Rocks. But I'm not supposed to care about that. Problems with the bass line. Yeah, let's just listen. Oh. It started over by mistake. I'm sorry about that. Let's jump ahead and see what happens. Okay. This change... It's cool. Okay, it's fading out. I'm sorry for that, about that. It just stopped and restarted. I don't know why. However, I think we heard most of the track. And the file says guitar rocks when I opened it up. So guitar rocks, forget about it. So, Igor, yeah. You have a lot of MIDI notes here in your project. I can just tell. It's a lot of different MIDI notes playing at the same time. It's a little bit crowded, but not too much. The mixing and the bass line, it feels a little thin, maybe. But the overall feeling of the track, I get this kind of, old school 50 Cent type of beat, like one of those club tracks, but it's still a little bit darker than that. And again, a lot of different notes hitting left and right. It's cool, but I think, like musically, I think the beat shines at the end. Here. Where this like really thin guitar plays along with the strings and everything, to me that becomes more of a full track, and I can see what you're going for. In the beginning, it's kind of thin to me, like sonically. Even though you have the bass. Maybe this one sounds a lot different in like on like a big arena stage, just blasting the bass. Maybe that's the case. I'm not getting the total feel here, but production-wise, it seems like you have a lot of stuff going on, and it's much. It's a lot, but it's not too much. I think I like what you did with this, but again, maybe use this whole string part that I'm talking about at the end as a chorus for the track, or like a part of the track that repeats, maybe as a chorus, even though it's instrumental. I don't know. Maybe you're also looking for rappers on this. I don't know. But again, another producer that makes a lot of fun choices with how he programs his drums. And I think I have to learn something from you guys soon. Normally I just make my drums kind of straight or kind of swingy, but I just keep them as they are. It sounds like you have a lot of cool things going on with the drums here, a lot of smaller hits and a lot of like repetitive notes and things that makes it all very dynamic and nice to listen to. But again, I would think about the arrangement here and make more of the full beat with the deep piano notes you have going together with the strings and stuff. Put that somewhere in the beginning as well, just to make it sound like, yeah, this is starting up. This is it. Because too much of this plucky, kind of thin guitar makes me feel like I want more. I want more of anything, and I'm not really getting it. And when it comes to the bass, if you're struggling with the bass here, just don't struggle. Just be confident. Just put a bass there. You have a bass, but just increase it in volume and let it take some space in the mix. I think it could benefit from that a lot. But again, I'm listening on headphones right now, and this sounds like a track that could benefit from playing on a big PA system. Cool. So that's Igor. Thank you for sending in a really nice email and a really nice track. Now, what I have here, it seems to be... I think I have 3 beats left to talk about. You see, this is becoming a lengthy episode, but I think that's kind of cool. So here is Carlos. I'm a big fan of yours. Stumbled on your channel a little over a year ago when my musical journey was starting. So this is also kind of a beginner. It's not nice to say, but someone that's kind of new to making music. So let's see here. I'm not musically trained, and I don't consider myself as a musician yet, but I'm trying my hand at making music and beats almost non-stop for a year now. And he uses his iPad for this stuff, and he had some other things before that he returned, and I've talked about that on the channel as well. Make sure you have some tool to make music on and learn that before you go any further and try to add like things to a studio. Make sure that you have your tools down and you know what you're doing. And it sounds like you're doing the right thing here by switching to the iPad. For your consideration for review of your beat review section of the podcast, I have the following beat. And this is released on Spotify. Okay, I have this one open here. Carlos, and the track is called Weekend. So Carlos Lavara, Weekend. Let's have a listen. And there we go with the ending. Weekend by Carlos Lavara. If you've only been into making music for a year, I think this is really nicely done. The thing I really like here is the sound of the drums and the swing and the feel of the drums. Really nicely done to be like kind of a beginner at this. The drums are really nice and they feel it fits together with everything else in a good way. This backbeat thing you have going on, the backbeat, baka, baka. I don't know if it's a guitar sample or what it is. I'm not crazy about that, but that's just me. I have a problem with, reggae stuff at all, and things on backbeat like that is, I don't know. It's just one of those things that I personally don't like. But that's very subjective. Then you have this really nice pad coming in and the arpeggio in the background. And I think everything there just plays nicely together, and it makes a nice, fulsome little track. The bass line keeps going together with the drums to build a solid bass, which I think is, it's worth a lot to have that in a track like this. Because you have this like dreamy keys, the pads going on in the background, and just having a nice foundation of some, in this case, kind of swingy and a little bit trashy drums. Trashy in a good way. Together with that bass makes a stable ground to grow from, and then you can sprinkle the arpeggios and the pads and stuff. I think that's good. Maybe it's not the most fun track I've ever heard, because it is what it is, but I can see that you have released some music, and this is the last track from an album, and in that case, maybe it's just what it is. It's necessary to be like that. The whole feeling is kind of relaxed and nice to listen to. It's nothing super special or like in your face, super poppy about it. It's not super hard, but it's a nice little track to listen to. And having it play on a beat tape, I think that's a nice choice. It's a good track. Thanks a lot for sending it in. I can't say much negative about it, but that I don't really understand this backbeat thing. It's kind of corny to me, but that's one thing. But the mixing and everything sounds nice. Is this completely done on an iPad? I'm sure it's very much possible that it is. I appreciate it. I like it a lot. Let's just. See what I mean? The drums and the bass line, boom. You have a foundation, and then you can sprinkle away, and you've done so. I think that's cool. I think it's nice. A nice little relaxing track. Well done, Carlos. I appreciate you a lot. So that's Carlos. That's that one. Now we have 2 left. Hello there. I hope this one makes it to the beat review. Thanks. Listen to Dhans. Dhans on SoundCloud. Dhans. The track is called Get Out, and let's have a listen. Oh! This is good. Oh, it is a sample. Okay, Dhans Beats, Dhans Beats. Um, Get Out. A super funky track, which makes me think about people like, maybe Moby, maybe DJ Shadow, maybe, stuff like that. This type of funky stuff is something that I enjoy a lot. It's nice. It feels like a funky type of breakbeat thing combined with some hip hop stuff. Um, I don't have much negatives to say about this. I would try to, and this is nothing I say like ever, but I would try to put a little bit of distortion on the drums, or maybe a lot of distortion on the drums for just a part of the song. Because kind of, just to make it sound a bit rawer and a bit harder in a part of the track to make like a breakdown thing. It's not necessary, it's cool as it is, but I would try that and just see what changes. And also, everything here is fits nicely together. It's well thought out. But what would happen if you increase the volume of the bass or layered it with the bass that sounds a bit more in the higher frequencies, not the high frequencies, but being a bit quirky or a bit, being a bit more in the mix. Because the bass line is nice, but I want to hear more of it. Maybe that's just me. At a part in this track, I thought the whole vocal thing was recorded by you and then changed to fit in there, because it's so many different types of chops of it. But at the end, it sounds like the sample plays out and that it's actually a sample. And the whole brass thing, the whole brass figure, it fits it fits so nicely in the beat. Is this sampled from an external source and squeezed in here? That's really impressive to make it sound that fulsome and complete. Maybe overall, with the mixing of the track, I feel like the high frequencies are a bit much with the hi-hat and the snare and stuff. I would like this to be a little bit more dirty and, a bit more funky, like angry funky instead of happy funky. The piano, everything, good work, really good work. It feels like I'm getting more positive the longer we go, but yeah, good work. I've said what I needed to say. Try distortion of the drums, that could be kind of cool. And increase the bass. Okay, so that's Dhans Get Out. Shit, I still have two here. No, I had more from the beginning and I just picked kind of randomly which ones to include and which ones not to include. And right now I'm gonna take another one out of here and maybe feature that in the next episode or whatever. Because I want to go to Emil Lindberg, whatever. He submitted a track on my last beat review, and he's super active on Discord, one of the few guys who actually is. That's not nice to say, I'm sorry. A lot of really cool people are on my Discord, and we're having a good time there sometimes. And this guy posts a lot. Email, and the track is called Banger. Let's listen to that one. some nice parts. And we get back to... No. Okay, Emil, thanks a lot for sending that one in. Banger. You did something here that I see or hear very rarely. You have two distinctive parts of the track, like part A and part B, and you put all the A parts in the beginning and all of the B parts in the end. That's kind of cool. But for like arranging the track and having it less repetitive, maybe try to go a little bit in and out of the A and the B parts, because they're both really nice and I think they complement each other really well. And I would try to put them next to each other and make them switch up like that. Not go A, B, A, B, A, B, but maybe like putting some B parts in the first part of the beat as well. A solid bass. Nice swing to the drums, a nice solid bass, and a lot of cool saxophone or some type of brass instrument here in the beginning. I like that a lot. Sometimes I'm not sure if I love the hi-hat and the open hi-hat being like tss, 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 somewhere in the track, but that's just me being nitpicking. But again, going from this section to this section, maybe that's what you're thinking as well. This is maybe just like a brief thrown together thing just to make me being able to hear both parts. But I think like just combining things like that would add a lot to the dynamics of it and the listening experience. But I think you made a lot of really cool choices here. It's nice and simple. It's a bass line and it's a saxophone and some other, like, I don't know if that's some kind of keys. Yeah, definitely some type of Rhodes or Wurlitzer piano or something in there. Feels cool. And if that's a part of the sample too, you did a good job of just combining it all and making it sound fulsome and nice. I can't remember how the intro went. Was there an intro? No. And this, you have a nice feel with the drums, and I feel like this kind of sloppy, kind of bouncy drums fits together with the style of the stuff. And for me, I normally often have a hard time sampling basses like this. This is like an acoustic or a stand-up bass, contrabass, or whatever it's called. But it's nicely contained in the track, and I like it. That little thing. If that's added somehow, the whole... If that's added and you're able to increase the volume of that, I would try to do so, because it really makes you shift a little bit as a listener in a way that like, oh, that's fresh, that's new, that's cool. And if it's a part of the sample and you can't like change the volume of it, don't care about what I'm saying. But yeah. Well, maybe I just hate loud hi-hats or something, but I think the hi-hat here could be lowered a bit. maybe not, I don't know. Don't listen to me too much. I'm just a guy with opinions. Nice work. I hear you're working on some kind of project in the future. Nice. This one, nice. Like this track. Good work, Email, and thank you for being supportive of the channel and being active on Discord and everything. You're an awesome follower to have. And now the last one I skipped is actually kind of a rap song. It's not a beat. I don't know if this is a guy who made the beat and the rap or what's up, but you know, for this beat review series of the podcast, I don't want to feature full songs with rap and stuff a lot, but I listened quickly to the 4 tracks that this guy sent me, and I really feel like I should play this one for maybe just a minute or so, or maybe more, because this, you know, the first thing I thought about was MF Doom when it comes to the beat and the rapping, mostly the beat. So yeah, the episode of this podcast is basically over by now, and I just want to play this one a bit because it's nice to have people of this caliber sending in music to me. You know, I just think it's cool.
I wanna hurt your feelings, but with whom do you think you're dealing? I got a girl, when I put on top of the world, diamonds mixed with a lot of pearls. I got a girl, AM to the PM, you be all up in my DM. When I put on top of this earth, she's a gift. What's the meaning of curse? No cap. There's a lot of fake out there, all up on the internet, like we don't care. Fake care, fake now, like everything's so swell. When most of you bitches is Disney, like a fairy tale. All up in your phone, taking pictures. Every other pic with your tongue out. What's that all about? Tongue whiter than a case of mono. Throat rash, herpes with an open case of I know. So bad, with a face full of Jeffree Star. Underneath you don't know who you are. Let me tell you, insecure, always mad at the world. Straight hair when all you wanted was curls. Sex sells. You a front like you securing the bag, but all you curing is that ego you had. You a front like you securing the bag, but all you curing is that ego you had. I got a girl, hey yo, I wanna hurt your feelings, but with whom do you think you're dealing? I got a girl, one I put on top of the world, diamonds mixed with a lot of pearls. AM to the PM, you be all up in my DM. I got a girl, one I put on top of this earth. She's a gift, what's the meaning of curse? No cap.
Easier said than done, I'm not to blame. See, I know the love you got ain't for me, it's for the fame. So a one night stand, heroic, grab my hand off.
And the more I listen to that, it kind of hits me that this might be a beat by someone else and he just put his rapping on it. I kind of recognize the track. I think I need to put it through with Shazam or something before I release this episode because, you know, the copyrighted material is not good. But if I'm wrong, if this is just completely homemade with the beat and everything, you know, again, it's nice to know that you have people of that caliber, you know, participating in a thing like this. Because this sounds to me kind of, even though the kick drum feels like it's maybe a little bit overly distorted or whatever, the whole style that you're going for here, which I feel is kind of, it reminds me of MF Doom in a lot of ways. It's nice, it's good, it's nice to hear, it's you know, it's cool. It feels like MF Doom in some way, but it's still kind of original, having fun with the rap. I appreciate that. But in the future, my plan here is to make this a platform for beat makers and keeping the beats in focus. So even though if I'm trying to do that for that track, the beat is really nice and I don't have much to say about it. Now, I've been recording this for almost 2 hours now. That's kind of crazy. No one's going to listen to the whole thing. And that's totally fine. However, I'm going to wrap this up now and I'm going to release a video on my YouTube channel in a while on this one. I got this one a couple of days ago, and if you're not watching the video and can see what I'm pointing at, It's the Akai MPC 2000 XL. The old school 2000 XL. I know I make a lot of beats on other stuff, and I make a lot of videos on new stuff, but I found this one for a really good price, and I just felt like I need to have it. And I've never worked with it before, but I'm doing it now, and it's kind of a struggle. A video is coming on that soon. And perhaps we're going to do another podcast sometime in like kind of soon. It doesn't have to take 2 months between every single episode. Thanks a lot for being here. Thanks a lot for enjoying stuff. And if you're still here after making a podcast episode that's almost 2 hours long, I salute you. Go follow the links in the description to the producers that has submitted their beats to be a part of this beat review, because I think every single one of them needs some more attention that they already have. Now, I'm about to go to bed. I'm going to edit this thing tomorrow. Thanks a lot for watching, or thanks a lot for listening. And if you have any ideas for the podcast that I'm doing, just send it my way. I accept beats on my email, which is accuratemcc in one word @gmail.com. accuratemcc@gmail.com. And send beats my way, and I'm going to try to include them in a beat review in the future. But that's for another episode. And again, I have to think about another type of solution for this, because featuring this many beats and making episodes that are 2 hours long, I can't deal with that in the long run. I just can't. And I've still not included every single track I got from you guys, which kind of makes me sad in a way. However, thanks a lot again. Thanks for all the support and the love and everything. I'm signing out. Thanks. See you guys in the next episode. Ha det gott.
Accurate Beats Podcast.